going to go ahead and log in. I'm going to try to remember my password because I've been on vacation for the last 4 days, so. Trust me, if you knew what I came back to, you'd understand why I want to keep remembering my vacation. So I mentioned this during my earlier web publisher trainings. OU Campus has 3 views or 3 screens that you can do stuff in, and that has not changed in this new version. So you always come to your big, this is the whole screen view. You've got your file folder here that expands it out to the view where you see the directory. And then to get to that 3rd view, which is just that big list of files, that's where you need to go in order to create new pages or new sections. So to get to that, you're going to click on the Pages link here, which just means show me a list of pages. And that's going to give me my directory tree, my directory list, or my wide view, as some people want to call it. And again, you've got your home folder, then you'll see what folder you're in underneath that, and what subfolder you're in underneath that. So I'm looking in the Web Team folder. And then you can see other little things. I won't go into this too much, but you could check out a file here. You've got the option to publish, rename, and copy. But again, we won't dive into that one just yet. Okay, as always, this is where the complicated part is. When you want to create something new, you have to click the button that says New. I got a laugh out of one person with that. I'll take it. I'm going to see a few more options than you all have because I'm an admin. But when we get the new templates added, you will see them here, and you won't see as many of these. Some of these are just ones we're developing. Chances are most of you are in what we call the universal template, and that's just kind of this one. This is the default one for the whole site. Or you may be in the horizontal template, which has the larger picture and the horizontal menu going across the top. That's important to remember because whatever template your directory is in, you have to stay in that template. So I can't have a universal template and then say I want a horizontal page inside of there. I can't have, or vice versa. So since the Web Team folder is in the universal template, I'm going to say, wait, I'm doing page, sorry. Since the Web Team section is in the universal page, I'm going to select the universal page. And it's going to ask me for a few things. File name becomes part of your URL, so you want to be careful with how you name things. This is considered your file name. Your file name does not have to be 18 miles long like some people think that it needs to be. Think about how it would look on a business card is what I tell people. And it uses that same naming convention that we have, all lowercase, no spaces, no special characters. So I'm just going to put something, actually no, just so I'll know to get rid of it later. We kind of went over the metadata, but just a reminder, your title field is what shows up in the bar here at the top. It's also what people see in Google search results. So you want to make sure that something actually, you want something there that actually kind of says what the page is. Your heading, they turn the heading off on this one, but your heading is this black block of text here. Breadcrumbs, Hansel and Gretel finding your way around the page. These are your breadcrumbs. This is actually a bad example of one. So yeah, this would be an example of breadcrumbs. So they're on that chairman's office page, but they can work their way up to the other levels of the site. Meta description, that's also part of what Google shows in those search results. You'll see the title of the page, then a little description below it. So again, that's something you want to have filled out. Keywords, don't worry about keywords just because most of the major search engines are not using keywords anymore because people were abusing them. They were putting in iPhone 5, Justin Bieber, and Lindsay Lohan as keywords on their pages to get them to show up higher in search results. Add navigation item, it will automatically add a link in your menu for you. I usually set this to no, but that's because most pages I'm working on are not pages that are going to be used right away. So I don't want to link to them immediately. override existing options you will probably never use. If I already had a page called Delete Me Later, I could click this box, and when it created that new page, it would overwrite that old one. So I'd have a new blank page. But if that were the case, I would just go in and edit Delete Me Now. I think I'm going to put in a request to have them just remove this box to avoid confusion. And then you hit Create, and it'll take a minute for the hamster to run on the wheel. Can everybody see? Do I need to try and enlarge things a little bit? Okay. Didn't want to. So now I've got this blank page, and just like before, whenever you create a blank page, whatever folder you're in when you create that page, it's going to use that existing menu that's already in there. It's going to use that existing header, and it's going to use that existing contact us info. So it's just grabbing what's already in this case, the web team folder. Okay? And from here, it's just the same matter of editing it as if it were an existing page. Do remember that creating it in OU Campus does not make it live. This link, if somebody tried to type it in, would not load because the page has not been published yet. It hasn't been published at all. Okay. So that was the quick version of new page. Did that one make sense for you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, new section. Maybe you need an entirely new section. You've got some kind of new initiative coming up, a new scholarship, a new deadline. I always use the golf tournament example. A while back, Urology wanted a single page for this golf raising fund tournament. And so we were just, under Urology, we made a new page. I think we called it golf or maybe tournament, I can't remember, and just put some details. And then, as things tend to do around here, somebody with a title saw it and said, hey, can we get a page with some pictures from last year's event? Oh, and while we're at it, can we get a page with a map to the location? Now, actually, all of these were good requests. It just would have been nice if they had thought of it earlier. So then we had the option of, okay, under Urology, have a bunch of pages called golf tournament map, blah, 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 which could work, but again, you would want something to have a little bit more structure. So I suggested that instead of a new page, and I'm going to go back to my pages view, we do a new section. Now, here's the good thing about new sections. Since they're starting from scratch, if you're in the horizontal template, but you decide you want a new section, you can say, hey, new section, I want you to show in the universal template instead. It's folder based, not it's individual file based, not folder based. So a subfolder can have a different template from the folder that's above it. Files within those folders have to have the same template. Hopefully that made sense. So just like I was in the universal, I could come in here and say make a horizontal section. If I was in the horizontal section, I could say make a new section here. All right, and I'm going to go ahead, and what I want to do, I want to go into my training folder and make it there. So I'm in training. You see I've already got a couple of, one subfolder, or one new section I guess I should call it. So I'm going to do new, and I'm going to say make a horizontal section. Directory name, just like file name, this again becomes part of your URL. So in this case, directory name. Same thing, use the business card approach. Actually, just to make it kind of stand out a little bit more. Your friendly folder name is just what it's going to use for that initial title. That one, as you can see, it can have spaces. And you've got that same metadata, and you'll see why it's filling that out in just a second. I'm going to cheat and not do the description, and I'll just leave that to yes, since this training folder isn't public anyway. It takes a couple of seconds longer. Okay, maybe a little more than a couple of seconds longer. But OU Campus is nice. It gives you this nice little message at the bottom letting you know, hey, I am actually doing stuff.
What you need is a GIF of a little hamster running.
I'll pitch that in the idea.
And then when he stops running.
Well, OU Campus, one thing that they've started doing a lot of and that we want to take advantage of after we launched them, we can create our own plugins. They call them gadgets, but we can create our own little tools. And if they're really good, OU Campus will actually incorporate them into future versions and let them be open for other people. So now I've got a new section. So you see it actually went in there for me. So under web and training, it created a folder called new section. It created a blank index page for me. It created a menu file for me. It created an images and a documents folder. So a new section, it really is that. It is letting me start from scratch, building out everything, and it just gives me a blank template to work from. And again, this is still not live on the site because nothing has been published yet. And depending on which template you're in, editing it is going to be the same process. Your menu is going to be just a bulleted list of items. I won't go too much into editing because we went over that in the beginning, and I think most people have it. But if there's any questions at the end, I'll be glad to take them. And if I go back to my pages view, you'll see, and I go up to training. So under training, I've got that subdirectory 1 that I created earlier, and I've got this new section that I can go in and add content to. And if I've done my index page using that golf tournament as an example, so I've got my golf tournament index page that tells people about the tournament. I could go in and do another new page, and this will be a page since it's about that section. And this time I would do a horizontal page, and just for fun, and again because I'm lazy, so same thing as before. Within that section, it's going to create a new page for me called directions now. Usually, I'd like to say there's a hard and fast rule about when to do a new section versus a new page. Once again, if it's some kind of a new initiative that you know is going to have a lot of content related to it, that is probably a cause for a new section. For more information and other training resources, visit gru.edu/ocm/web.